All right, today we're going to do our math, but first we'll read our story. It's about a worm who turns himself into numbers. His name is Count Worm because he likes to count. It's about a little boy, and Count Worm is going to teach him how to make and learn his numbers. Once there was a worm, Count Worm. One morning, when Count Worm was out for a walk, or rather a crawl, he met a small boy. The boy was crying. "What's the matter?" asked Count Worm kindly. "Why are you crying?" "Because I can't count," said the boy. "Oh, now," said Count Worm. "Would you like me to teach you how to count?" "Oh, yes, please," said the boy, and he stopped crying. "Very well," said Count Worm. "Let us begin." "Now," continued Count Worm, "let me ask you a question. How many noses do you have on your face?" The boy tried to look at his nose. It was tricky. "Why don't you try to look at your nose?" "Ooh, it's hard." "One," he said. "I have one nose on my face." "Correct," said Count Worm. "And do you know what a 1 looks like?" "Oh, no," said the boy. "It looks like me," said Count Worm. "I look like a 1. Now," he continued, "let me ask you another question. How many feet do you have?" The boy looked down at his feet. It was easier to look at his feet than it was to look at his nose. "I have 2 feet, he replied. "Correct," said Count Worm. You do indeed have 2 feet. In fact, you have 2 feet more than me." And he turned himself into a 2. "Is that what a 2 looks like?" asked the boy. "Absolutely," said Count Worm. A 2, though, has a little bit of a point right here instead of a round part at the bottom. "And what comes after 2?" asked Count Worm. "I don't know," said the boy. 3, said Count Worm. 3 comes after 2, and 2 comes after 1. "Oh," said the boy. "Look over there," said Count Worm. "In the field there are 3 trees. 1, 2, 3. And he turned himself into a 3. 1, 2, 3, said the boy. "Correct," replied Count Worm. "And then comes 4, he continued. "Look, there are 4 birds sitting on that branch. Count them." 1, 2, 3, 4, counted the boy. "Excellent," smiled Count Worm, who had already become a 4. Remember, we could say a 4 can look like this, but a 4 also looks like this. And this is how we're going to practice writing it in TK. But there's a couple ways to do a 4. When they came to a fence, Count Worm asked, "How many bars are on that fence?" The boy climbed up the fence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. "And this is what a 5 looks like," said Count Worm. They climbed over the fence and they came to a field. "How many clouds are there in the sky?" asked Count Worm. "Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know. What comes after 5? asked the boy. 6, replied Count Worm, and he turned himself into a 6. On the other side of the field was a farmhouse. "How many doors?" asked Count Worm. "Oh, 1, said the boy. "How many chimneys?" asked Count Worm. 2, said the boy. "Correct," replied Count Worm. "And how many windows does it have?" asked the boy. "Oh, you're going to ask me. Let me count them," said Count Worm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he turned himself into a 7. "After 7 comes 8, said Count Worm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like 8 flowers over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, said the boy. "That's right," puffed Count Worm. Turning himself into an 8 was a bit of an effort. In fact, turning himself into an 8 was quite an effort. That means it was tricky for him to do. Very tricky. "Look, said Count Worm. There are 9 apples on that tree. No, there aren't, said the boy, and he picked one and he ate it. Now there are only 8 apples, he said with his mouth full. Count Worm smiled as he turned himself into a 9. So a 9 can look like this with a curve, or in TK, we're going to practice a 9 having a straight line. So a curve and a straight line. You've learned how to count, Count Worm said. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, said the boy. What comes after 9? 10, replied Count Worm. Can you turn yourself into a 10 for me? Asked the boy. Sorry, said Count Worm. I can't do that without the help of a friend. And he whistled a very loud whistle. Another worm appeared out of the ground. Percy, said Count Worm, for that was the other worm's name. Percy, will you help me show the little boy what a 10 looks like? Oh, my pleasure, said Percy. And between them they made a 10, a 1, and a 0. Thank you very much, Percy, said the boy. My pleasure, replied Percy, and then he disappeared into the ground. And then the boy also said thank you to Count Worm. And the little boy went home saying, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, over and over to himself. Count Worm smiled and crawled off. That was cute. That's one of my favorite stories. All right, this page we're gonna skip with this cup. It's just a little thing for you to do at home with Mommy and Daddy if you want. And this is all the rhymes for our numbers, but we're gonna work on this one today. So this is a sideways page. So make sure you turn your page. This is gonna be so easy. We're just gonna be using our pencil today. Do you think you can make sure you have your pencil? Pause the recording if you need to find a pencil. All right, so the directions say, draw lines to match the teddy bears to the chairs. So one teddy bear is going to be matched to one chair. So check it out. The teddy bear is right above the chair. So I'm just gonna match one, match another one, match another one, match another one, match another one. This is called matching 1 to 1. Easy peasy, we just drew lines. And then the directions at the bottom say, count the teddy bears. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So down here, I'm gonna draw a 7. I'm gonna do a straight line to the right and then a diagonal line down. Over here it says, count the chairs. So, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey! That means they are equal, right? One teddy bear matched to one chair. There were none left over, so they are the same. They are equal. When you're done, flip your paper over to our page that looks like this. We're gonna practice the number 1. So we practiced already number 1 doing rainbow writing. Now we're gonna be doing our numbers a little bit differently. So we're gonna practice some tracing ones. Another day we'll practice doing them by ourselves. So we'll get lots of practice writing our numbers. So it says over here, use a crayon to trace this number 3 times. So I want you to choose 3 colors of crayon. You can decide which 3 you want. I chose green, orange, and purple. Make your choice. Pick out 3 colors of crayons. And then we're just gonna start at the top. Remember, it goes, come straight down and that is all. And then with your other color, come straight down and that is all. And your last color, come straight down and that is all. That's how we write the number 1. Then over here, we're just gonna use our pencil for tracing our ones. So come straight down and that is all. Come straight down and that is all. Come straight down and that is all. That's how we write the number 1. There's 3 at the top and then there's 3 at the bottom. Come straight down and that is all. Come straight down and that is all. Come straight down and that is all. That's how you write the number 1. It's very easy tracing. It's hard for you to see mine because my pencil is kind of the same color as my book, but you can do yours and do a good job.